Hello. So I'm just going to take this moment to point out that yes, we are SQL Server specialists. We know everything SQL Server, inside out, upside down, back. I know the internals. I've never found a SQL Server I can't performance tune. I don't mean like dodgy tricks here and there. I mean properly performance tune. And yet, this is Python. So I've got, I think, 250 plus blogs on my website, so kutech.co.uk. They're all SQL Server. Very hard to come up with new stuff. So when I started doing kind of videos, it just transpires I'm doing PowerShell, Power BI, Python, other things. So just go with it. SQL Server specialist, trust me, but Python. So anyway, so this one is basically just getting Python working on Visual Studio Code. It was a little bit annoying when I did it the first time, so I thought I'd stick it in a video. So first things first, Google. And I am just going to search for Python 3.9. As of now, it's actually 3.9.2. So if you just go to whatever the latest version happens to be, skimming on down, and you will see the recommended one, depending on what you're on. For me, it's Windows, so I'm just going to get the Windows 64-bit installer. Downloads pretty quickly. I have quite fast internet. So I'm going to run that. And I am just going to install it. I'm also going to do add to path. All add to path means is that basically when you're running something from a terminal, you don't have to be in its folder in order to access the python.exe. If you run it from any other folder, Windows will go scanning and hunt it down. Just makes it easier when you're typing stuff. You don't kind of have to keep doing change directory, go here in order to do something. So more of a just faffy fun thing. Okay, I almost managed to talk long enough for it to install, but we're almost getting there. So yeah, this is Python for Windows. If you're using any other system, it will obviously be relevant to whichever system you're using, but yeah, I'm on Windows, so we're just going to wait a second for this to install. It doesn't take long. It's nearly there. And then all we'll do is basically just boot up Visual Studio and show how to get the extension and then how to actually use it by running something simple. So there you go, close that, that's now run. World is happy. So we now have Python installed. If we go to Start menu, you'll see at the top here we've got some Python things. We're not going to use that because we're going to use Visual Studio Code. So, Visual Studio Code. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the extensions, and then I'm just going to type in Python. And then at the top we get Python. So I'm going to install this. Now, as a note, while this quickly installs, if you try running Python directly in Visual Studio Code, you sometimes have it pop out to the Microsoft Store saying download Python from here. Don't. Okay, just don't. It does some weird stuff. If you get it from the Microsoft Store, it actually installs it into a weird location within the C drive, and it's actually a restricted folder. So it means that you have to do some kind of fuzzy things by basically just kind of mapping executables through. So when you actually try and run certain Python code, it will actually fail on user errors. It's just not worth the hassle. Just do it straight from the Python site and then run it this way. So now we've kind of got the Python extension installed. What I'm going to do is I am going to create myself a folder. You can see in here I'm just going to create myself a folder called Python. And I'm just going to select that folder. And then what we will get is a nice little folder up here, and you can see just up here I've got my Python folder. So if I now do new file, I'm just going to do I will try my snake eyes thing. So if I just do .py, you'll see the icon changes. If I kind of back up, it's quite hard to see because it's in the corner, but you can see that's just a file. And then if I just do the .py, it automatically switches it to a Python file. So I've now got a Python file that it's recommended as a Python file. What I should be able to do, I mean, you get this little pop-up, but I'm not overly fussed about this pop-up. So I'm just going to run something really, really basic, like just print hello. And then if I press the green play button, it should, there we go, if we lift this up, there you go, we can see that it ran using the Python exe, it found it because of the path thing. Ran my file, and we get hello. So it's kind of that simple, just to get Python running in in Visual Studio Code, and then you can just kind of do all the normal stuff you do. So I'm just going to kind of import random, and because I called it Snake Eyes, I'm just going to make like a little Snake Eyes game. So what equals random dot rand int should do 2 to 12, because if you roll 2 dice, you're obviously going to get between 2 and 12. And then I'm basically just going to do a quick if statement. If roll equals 2, then print snake eyes. My typing's abysmal. Else print, and then we're just going to put something like nope, I rolled, and then we'll just add in, we have to convert to a string, roll. And that should work nicely. So now if we run this, you can see we've got the random number generator going. So nope, I rolled 11. Not clearest to see. I'm just going to whack in a couple of carriage returns into my text up here. Plus whack that in. And then if I run that, you'll be able to see now we've got some spacing down here, so you can actually see. And we've just got nope, roll 6, roll 11, roll 4, 4, 4, 7, 4, likes 4, 9, 5, 9, and I'm going to give up before we get to the snake eyes. But basically that's as easy as it is to actually put Python into Visual Studio Code. The only thing I will say is if you're trying to install, because this is a Python script, if you're trying to install a module, you can't actually do that from inside the Python script that I'm aware of. You might be able to, but let's say for example we wanted to install, I'm just going to install the Python ODBC class. So if I just do pip install pyodbc, you can type it natively into the terminal. So don't do it in the file above, do it natively in the terminal. If you hit that, that should, there you go, go and install it. And now I'd happily be able to use the pyodbc drivers for any of my projects, which I'll probably do in the next demo. But you can see, so if you actually need to kind of install anything, this does it globally. You can do environment versions. You would create your own Python environment, your virtual environment, and install stuff into there. But this I've just done as a global install into my Python as a whole, because quite frankly I use ODBC a lot because I'm a SQL guy. So yeah, so stuff you need to do like pip installs or anything like that, do it from the terminal directly. If you want to just run a script, like I said, write a script, hit play, and it will happily run it in the window below. So that's how easy it is to get Python running in Visual Studio Code. So now, as per my last video, in case you watched it, you can obviously then start mix and matching by having multiple tabs open, some with SQL, some with Python, some with PowerShell, some with whatever you like, and just kind of have a nice development flow. Which links me on to go look at the other videos. If this was useful, happily like, subscribe, whatever you want to do. As I mentioned at the start, generally SQL Server guys, we do a lot of this other stuff because obviously SQL is now kind of the basis for a lot of other technologies such as Python, machine learning, PowerShell, Power BI, that kind of thing. It's all driven by SQL, so we're kind of covering a lot of these other areas as well, but we are SQL guys at heart, know it inside out and backwards. 250 I think plus blogs on qtech.co.uk. Head on over, links in the description, and yeah, see you later.